It was a cold, rainy evening when David, a man in his mid-30s, was driving back from work. The streets were nearly empty, and the dim glow of streetlights reflected off the puddles on the asphalt. He was exhausted, tired of the monotony of his corporate life, and wondering if there was more to life than spreadsheets and meetings. Suddenly, something small and fragile caught his attention. A faint whimpering sound came from the side of the road. David slowed down and peered through the rain-soaked windshield. There, shivering and soaked, was a tiny, abandoned dog, no bigger than a loaf of bread. Its fur was matted, and its eyes, big, pleading, and terrified, looked directly at him. David's heart clenched. He wasn't an animal person. He had never owned a pet in his life. Yet, something in those eyes stirred a feeling he hadn't felt in years, a mix of empathy, sorrow, and an inexplicable connection. Without thinking twice, he got out of the car, ignoring the rain soaking through his clothes. He gently picked up the trembling creature and wrapped it in his jacket. The dog, scared but sensing the warmth, nestled into him. And for the first time in weeks, David felt a strange sense of purpose. Back at his small apartment, David laid the dog on a makeshift bed. He had no idea what to do. He didn't even know its name, age, or if it had a family. But as he watched it curl up, exhausted and scared, he felt an unfamiliar surge of responsibility. He named the dog Buddy. Inspired by the loyalty he hoped this little creature would one day show him. That night, as rain pattered against the windows, David sat on the floor, holding Buddy close. He noticed how frail the animal was, how deeply it had suffered, and realized that he couldn't just leave it to fate. Little did he know, this was the beginning of a transformation, not just for Buddy, but for David himself. The next few weeks were challenging. Buddy was wary of people, afraid of any sudden movement, and often tried to hide in dark corners. David had to be patient. He read about abandoned animals, watched online tutorials, and even consulted a vet to make sure Buddy was healthy. Every small victory was a milestone. When Buddy first wagged his tail at David, it felt like a triumph. When he dared to take a tentative step toward a stranger, David celebrated silently. Each day, he realized that caring for Buddy required patience, empathy, and unconditional love, qualities he had long forgotten in his busy, self-centered life. David began to notice changes within himself as well. His mornings, once rushed and dull, now had purpose. He woke up to feed Buddy, take him for walks, and play with him. The stress from work seemed to fade when he was with his little companion. Months passed, and the bond between David and Buddy grew stronger. They became inseparable. Buddy was no longer afraid. He was playful, loyal, and affectionate. David found himself smiling more, laughing more, and even connecting better with people around him. One evening, while walking through the park, David noticed a woman struggling with her own dog, which had gotten tangled in the bushes. Without hesitation, David helped her, untangling the leash and calming the frightened animal. The woman thanked him, and they struck up a conversation. Buddy sat beside David, tail wagging proudly, as if he knew he had played a role in changing his owner's life. David laughed. He hadn't realized it before, but through caring for Buddy, he had become a better human being, more compassionate, more patient, and more open-hearted. One night, several months later, David was working late at his home office when he felt a strange unease. Buddy, usually calm and quiet, was pacing anxiously, growling softly. David dismissed it at first, thinking Buddy was restless. But then the dog bolted to the front door, barking furiously. Curious and slightly alarmed, David followed Buddy outside. That's when he noticed smoke curling from the apartment next door. The fire had started in the kitchen, and it was spreading quickly. Without thinking, David ran to alert his neighbors and help them evacuate safely. Thanks to Buddy's alertness, no one was harmed. That night, David hugged Buddy tightly, tears streaming down his face. The little dog who had once been abandoned had now saved lives. The story of David and Buddy didn't stay private for long. Friends, colleagues, and eventually neighbors learned about how an abandoned dog had completely transformed a man's life. David shared his journey on social media, not for attention, but to inspire others to adopt and care for animals in need. People reached out to him, asking for advice on rescuing and rehabilitating abandoned pets. David started volunteering at local animal shelters and even organized community drives to support stray animals. Buddy was always by his side, the perfect companion and symbol of hope. David realized something profound. Rescuing Buddy had not only saved the dog, but had also awakened a dormant empathy and purpose within him. He had discovered a deeper sense of fulfillment than any job or paycheck could ever provide. Through Buddy, David learned that true change often comes from the most unexpected places. An abandoned animal, once neglected and fearful, had brought love, courage, and meaning into his life. He understood the power of patience, the importance of empathy, and the joy that comes from nurturing a life that depends on you. David no longer measured his life in material achievements, but in moments of connection, compassion, and love. Buddy, once a scared little dog, now thrived in a world full of love, proving that every act of kindness, no matter how small, can create a ripple effect far beyond what we can imagine. Years later, David and Buddy were inseparable. They went on long hikes, visited animal shelters, and participated in community events. Buddy had become a symbol of hope and resilience, and David had become a symbol of compassion and transformation. One rainy evening, David found himself driving home, much like the night he had first found Buddy. As he glanced at his companion sleeping peacefully in the passenger seat, he smiled. That abandoned little dog had changed his life forever, not with words or instructions, but with loyalty, love, and the quiet reminder that life's greatest joys often come from the most unexpected places. David whispered softly, "Thank you, Buddy. You saved me as much as I saved you." And Buddy, in his own way, seemed to nod, tail wagging gently, as if to say, "Always."